Hello, this is Martin Blossman, and I'm here with David Halperin to talk about his new upcoming book, Intimate Alien. Great to have you.
Good to be here, Martin.
I just want to jump in right away and talk about this idea that aliens don't exist, but they are important, is my paraphrase
Yeah,
of it.
yeah. That, as one way I put it is that in the great debate about UFOs, the skeptics are right about the less important thing. There are no UFOs. The believers are right about the more important things. That the UFOs, which have no physical existence, are something vitally important, and attention must be paid.
That's a pretty bold statement, and as I understand it, you're backing it up with this new book with research as well. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. I wonder, I show in the book that the UFOs are something very important and very real, namely a myth, which is not bunk or nonsense, as people often use the word, but is a kind of collective dream of the human species. This is the way Jung saw it, and he showed, and I would follow this, that these dreams are something vital for understanding who we are and what we face.
How long have you been working on this book?
Oh, 55 years.
That's a long time for the
Yeah.
book. So when did you get started? And then tell a little bit about the book before this as well.
Well, I started out as, I wasn't even a teenager. I suppose now we'd call it, we'd say I was a tween. And I was 12 going on 13. And I borrowed a book about UFOs from the public library, which resonated with me powerfully. And we can talk about why. That my gut told me that, fantastic as this was, it was true.
Mm-hmm.
And my gut was right, but not in the literal sense.
I see.
Not in the literal sense there are UFOs flying around our skies, but in the sense that they are symbols for something that we have to face and do not want to face.
And as a young teenager, you were proposing writing a book even back then. Is that
Oh,
right?
yeah, well, I was going to call it The Flying Saucer Mystery, and it would solve the mystery. I've changed the title to Intimate Alien, The Hidden Story of the UFO. But I would say that my ambition is the same. I don't tie up every loose end about the enormously rich and complex UFO tradition, but I point the way toward understanding what this often despised phenomenon is about and why we should all care.
And then the first book on UFOs, the Journal of a UFO Investigator, it's more of a fictional piece.
Yeah, that I took a I based it, how shall I say, not partly on my experience as a teen ufologist, but more on my dreams and fantasies as a teen ufologist. That, for example, I remember having a dream in which I was in a rambling old house in the country at a meeting of super serious teenagers dedicated to exploring the mysteries on the edges of science, as I was, and among them was a beautiful blonde in an evening gown. And then I woke up. My novel, Journal of a UFO Investigator, tried to imagine what might have happened if I hadn't woken up.
So
That
would you say it's autobiographical?
I've often told people when asked that parts of it are autobiographical, the car chases, the intergalactic sex, and the descent into the netherworld are all autobiographical. Other parts, however, I made up. But in truth, the book is seriously, the novel is rooted in my experience growing up as a teenager with a dying mother. And this is the story I tell, not as fiction, but as memoir in the first chapter of my new book, Intimate Alien.
What got you to write the new book?
The sense I had more to say about UFOs that needed to be said, and not in the code language of fiction, but in plain and simple English.
With real research behind it that you've done it. I mean,
Yes.
extensive research from what I've seen, documenting it and really going through step by step, almost the history of our experience of things called UFOs.
Yes. I don't intend it to be a complete and exhaustive history of the UFO phenomenon, although I do try to give a basic history of some aspects of it, like UFO abductions. And I try to explain what happened at Roswell and why it's important and why it happened there and not anywhere else.
What else would you like to tell people?
What I would like to tell people is that UFOs are a myth and myths are real.
Very important point. And you can find the book in the link below. It's available for pre-order already. Highly recommend it. It looks very exciting. I also have had a passion with science, UFOs, and all the same, and certainly enjoyed your first book. So look forward to the next.
Thank you so much, Martin.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
This is Martin Brossman with David Halperin talking about his new upcoming book, Intimate Alien, The Hidden Story of the UFO.